Now, okay, pH scale we have finished. pH scale. Okay, so just quick review here of what we discussed last time. Acids, bases, and salts. So today we'll try to complete. Okay, and salts. Because after this only salts are remaining, right? Now, what is pH? pH basically is nothing but what? Now, pH means basically, for example, power. Power means what? Power or strength. Sir, I'm having power or I'm having strength. Strength of what? H plus and concentration. Okay? H plus and concentration in any solution. Right? इसको कैसे समझेंगे? Let us take an example over here. Suppose you have got, for example, a beaker, 3 beakers over here. Okay? And here you are actually what? For example, taking, partially filling this particular vessel with water. Right? You add few drops of HCl in this. Okay? And this is neutral water. Let us say pure water we can say. Or distilled water we can say. Okay? Now, when we have pure water in any vessel, or we can say have a neutral salt solution also, you find the H plus ions produced by water and OH minus ions produced by water. Okay? Their concentrations are equal. क्यों? क्योंकि दोनों equal क्यों है? That's why water is neutral. ठीक है? Now, water is neutral का मतलब है H plus ion is equal to OH, and therefore scientists have found out ये concentration का value कितना है. Scientists have found out with the help of conductivity experiment. It's 10 raised to minus 7 moles 1 लीटर में या डेसीमीटर क्यूब. यानी 1 लीटर अगर आपने पानी लिया है तो उसमें so many moles of H plus ions and so many moles of OH minus ions will be present. Okay, which is negative, 10 raised to negative power. Right now, last time we mentioned about this. Now, agar suppose तुमने acid डाल दिया है, so acid what it does, it contributes H plus ions and Cl minus ions. Yeah, come. Or water also contributes, for example, that particular H plus ions. So that means the contribution is from what? Acid as well as water. So not naturally H plus ions will concentration will increase and OH minus ion uske hisab se adjust hoga. It will decrease comparatively. Okay? Means H plus ion will be greater than OH. Why? Because solution is become acidic. Yeah, solution neutral hai. Yeah, this water is neutral. So, but this time the solution is acidic. Means H plus ion concentration बढ़ जाएगा from 10 raised to minus 7 to 10 raised to minus 6. Here if you see, अगर H plus ion का इतना है, then OH minus also same. That means अगर product लेंगे इन लोग दोनों का H plus ions and OH minus ions, suppose, then it will be what? 10 raised to minus 7 into 10 raised to minus 7. How much is it? Law of indices, 10 raised to minus 14. Right? A raised to M into A raised to N. Basis same है. Of course, यहाँ पे value भी same है, तो दोनों को add कर देने. ठीक है, 10 raised to minus 14. यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा? ये value को constant रखने के लिए H plus ions तो बढ़ गया, तो OH minus ion concentration क्या हो जाएगा? H plus ion is 10 raised to minus 6, but we want this value only. So that means OH minus is 10 raised to minus 8. ऐसे 10 raised to minus 6 और minus 8 कितना हो जाएगा? 10 raised to minus 14. अगर suppose 10 raised to minus 5 हुआ ये, तो ये कितना हो जाएगा? 10 raised to minus 9. Means always it will be greater than 10 raised to minus 7. Now suppose you add few drops of NaOH, base डाल दिया तो, जब base डाल दिया तो that means for example यहाँ पे H plus ion are coming from what? Only one, water, but OH ions are coming from what? Base, NaOH से और water से, yes or no? And as a result, this time H plus ion has to decrease with respect to what? OH minus ion. Solution will be what? बेसिक, ये सॉल्यूशन बेसिक हो जाएगा, ये सॉल्यूशन या ये वाटर न्यूट्रल है, and this will become what acidic. Because there are three types of solutions in which reaction can occur. One is acidic, second is neutral, and third is basic. Like crops can grow in neutral soil, acidic soil, and basic soil, depending upon what crops you're trying to grow. Okay? So what is important over here? Come, H plus ion is lesser than OH minus. That means अगर ये 10 raised to minus 8 हुआ तो ये कितना हो जाएगा? 10 raised to minus, इस बार उल्टा हो जाएगा, काया पलट हो, अपसाइड डाउन, ठीक है कि नहीं? जो टॉप आता था उसको सेकंड आ गया, और जो सेकंड आता था टॉप में आ गया। इसका मतलब क्या है कि वो टॉप में आ गया का मतलब है वो थोड़ा सा नंबर 1 नंबर 2 में चेंज हो गया। आई फॉलोइंग मी? ओके, सो व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, तो ये 10 raised to minus 8, so 10 raised to minus 9, तो ये 10 raised to minus 5, बट दोनों मिला के 10 raised to minus 14. Now, this is very much inconvenient number. So scientist Sorensen, he came out with the concept of what? Which is called as concept of pH. He said that if I want to make this number more convenient, 10 raised to minus 7, then how can I make it convenient? pH is nothing but what? अगर H plus ion को आप multiply करेंगे negative log से, log is actually a mathematical function which makes the calculation easier. सुनिए इधर, हाँ ध्यान से। Now makes the calculation easier का मतलब कैसे? जैसे अभी तुमको multiply करना है 100 into 1000, ये तो सिंपल है, कैसे? 10 raised to 5 आंसर डायरेक्टली आता है। बट सपोज तुम्हारे पास नंबर दिया है 105, ओके, और यहाँ पे लेट से 1023, अब इसको मल्टीप्लाई करना, I mean, it is more time consuming. So what we do, we take log of this number to the base 10. There is a base which is always to the base 10. Okay. और इसको क्या है? There is a formula, log of A into B is log of, your mathematics teachers will explain you, is log of A plus log of B. ठीक है? Then there is a log table. जैसे हम लोग का mathematical table तुमने lower standard में की है, 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4, ओके, वो पूरा टेबल आपको पूरा एक बुक ही बनाया होगा आपने स्कूल में, राइट ना? टेबल टिल 25 व्हेन यू वर इन लोअर स्टैंडर्ड, एवरी डे यूज्ड टू राइट। मालूम है स्क्वायर बॉक्स में वो अपना ये दे देता था, आपको एक अलग टाइप का बुक मिलता था स्क्वायर, वो अभी बंद हो गया यानी हायर स्टैंडर्ड में आपको, बिकॉज वो बॉक्स में 2 1s are 21 यानी ऐसे पहले नंबर units place, digit place, ऐसा करके आपको, okay? So that was very basic. Now यहाँ log of A, तो log of 105 ले ले और log of 1023. Then you take, for example, इसका वैल्यू अपना वो टेबल से मिल जाएगा, और उसके बाद आपको उसका एंटी लॉग लेना है, यानी ऑपोजिट ऑफ लॉग, इट्स कॉल्ड एंटी लॉग। एंटी लॉग लेने के बाद जो भी वैल्यू आएगा, ठीक है, उसका ही कैलकुलेशन, उसका आंसर होगा। So this is much easy because see, multiplication is more difficult than addition. इसलिए आपको एडिशन जब करते थे तो आपको इजी लगता था, मल्टीप्लिकेशन डिफिकल्ट। तो ये मल्टीप्लिकेशन का वैल्यू अगर प्लस में आ जाएगा तो आपको इजी पड़ेगा। That's why log is made for convenience, to make the calculation much easier. Okay, just to make you understand. So this is, तो H plus ion को नेगेटिव लॉग से आप मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे टू द बेस 10 तो आपको एक सिंपल नंबर आएगा, जस्ट सी दिस। ओके, H plus ion का वैल्यू क्या है? 10 raised to minus 7, ठीक है ना? ओके, इधर आ जी। Okay, now this is negative log of, okay, to the base 10. Now see, important thing, जो भी 10 raised के ऊपर जो पावर रहता है वो लॉग के सामने लेके आ सकते हैं आप। ओके, तो क्या हो जाएगा? माइनस साइन ऑफ दिस फॉर्मूला, -7, ये नंबर ही है, उसके साथ वैल्यू लेके आना है विद व्हाट इज नेगेटिव साइन, इनटू log of 10 to the base 10. If the number is same as the base, then there is a formula, log of 10 to the base 10 is always equal to 1. Means log of A to the same base is equal to 1. Log of 2 to the same base 2 is equal to 1. वो नंबर और वो बेस दोनों सेम है, टू द बेस 2 हो सकता है, 3 हो सकता है, बट नॉर्मली वी प्रेफर टू हैव log of 10 to the base 10. तो आपको वैल्यू सब में 1 है, तो इधर क्या आ जाएगा? 10 to the base 10 1, माइनस इंटू माइनस प्लस इंटू 7, आपको क्या मिला? 7. pH is equal to 7. तो pH is something 7 आ गया तो solution neutral है. ओके अगर सपोज यहाँ पे 10⁻⁶ H प्लस आयन का वैल्यू तो कितना हो जाएगा 10⁻⁶ से क्या होएगा 6 हो जाएगा. यस और इधर 10⁻⁸ है. यहाँ पे अगर सपोज इसका देखेंगे H प्लस आयन का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन 10⁻⁸ है तो pH कितना हो जाएगा 8. That means on the basis of this, scientist Sorensen came out with a scale that is called pH scale, which is based on hydrogen ion concentration. Okay, which says that this scale varies from 0 to 14 because lowest value is how much 10⁻⁻14. तो इसलिए 0 से 14 तक रखे गए. ओके तो अगर H प्लस आयन का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन अगर सपोज फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1 मोलर है तो pH कितना हो जाएगा 0 हो जाएगा. In highest concentration of H plus ions, highest concentration 1 mole in highly acidic, तो उसमें concentration of base कितना हो जाएगा OH minus 10⁻⁻14. कैसे अगर इसको 1 into 10⁻⁻14 करेंगे 1 किसका वैल्यू है H plus ion तो OH का कितना होगा 10⁻⁻14. तो 10⁻⁻14 means what अगर H plus ion 1 मोलर है तो OH माइनस कितना हो जाएगा OH माइनस विल बी ऑपोजिट ऑफ इट 10⁻⁻14. सिंपल. अगर H प्लस आयन 10⁻⁻7 है तो OH माइनस का कितना हो जाएगा 10⁻. इधर से स्टार्ट करते हैं. फिर 10⁻⁻6 अगर H प्लस आयन का वैल्यू तो इसका कितना है 10⁻⁸ OH माइनस. यस और नो राइट. पूर्ण इधर देखिए पूरा ध्यान दीजिए 10⁻⁻5 इधर कितना होगा 10 ऐसा करके तुम्हारे को ऑलरेडी हम लोगों ने बट हम लोग नॉर्मली OH का नहीं लेते बिकॉज योर लोअर स्टैंडर्ड यू डोंट शो OH माइनस यू ओनली शो H प्लस आयन. तो H प्लस आयन इज एक्चुअली व्हाट 0 to 14. 7 का मतलब क्या है न्यूट्रल. ग्रेटर देन 7 बेसिक. यस और नो. एंड लेस देन 7 एसिडिक. ये हम लोगों ने लास्ट टाइम कर दी. पूर्ण splash water and come back. Why? Because you did not get full sleep yesterday, right now? Kind of. पूरा ध्यान दीजिए नहीं तो क्या होगा. हो गया ये splash water. ठीक है ना. इतना कर दिया हम लोगों ने लास्ट टाइम. Now today we are going for what kind of question salts, right ना. pH of अच्छा importance of pH in everyday life we have read ना लास्ट टाइम नहीं किया. ओके तो ये कितना तक किया जस्ट शो मी योर बुक. हाँ इधर तक कर दिया pH स्केल. ओके हाँ दैट सॉल्यूशन आल्सो वी हैव ड्रॉन. नाउ what is the importance of pH in everyday life situation. Okay come on importance please read out from that particular chart. Importance in everyday life situation of pH. Yes, application of pH. नहीं यहां से पढ़ना. pH स्केल pH कहां पे है. एक मिनट इधर. इधर स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ एसिडिक और बेसिक सॉल्यूशन वहां से पढ़िए.
Acid-base indicators are used to distinguish between an acid and a base.
Yes.
On the dilution or decreasing concentration of H plus or OH negative ions in solution per unit volume, we can quantitatively find the amount of these ions present in a solution.
Yes.
Thus, we judge how strong an acid or a base is. We can do this by making use of an universal indicator, which is a mixture of several indicators. The universal indicator shows different colors and different concentrations of hydrogen ions in solution.
आइए.
A scale for
all right. बोलिए.
A scale for measuring hydrogen ion concentration in solution called pH scale has been developed. The P in the S stands for potential in German, meaning power.
Power, yes.
This scale was introduced by Sorensen. There's a convenient scale for pH device termed as pH scale. On the pH scale, we can measure pH from 0, very acidic, to 14, very alkaline.
Yes.
pH should be called simply as a number which indicates the acidic or
basic nature. So pH scale measures the acidic or basic nature of any solution, relative acidic nature. Padhiye. Next one.
Solutions from 0 to 6 are acids by solutions in pH 7.5 to 14 are bases.
Yes.
Solutions with 0 to 3 are strong acids.
0 to 3, remember.
While those with pH 4 to 6 are weak acids. Solutions with pH 7.1 to 10 are weak bases. Solutions with pH 11 to 14 are
Strong bases, children. Okay, yaad rakhiye. 11 to 14 strong bases. Okay, then water soluble. हाँ हो सकता है, डिपेंड करता है वो. pH क्या होता है? It does not depend upon the solubility. If it is insoluble, then definitely it will not give its ions. Okay, so it depends upon which salt you're talking about. Okay, pH can become 8, can remain 7. That depends upon how much of it has converted into ions. Okay, next, पढ़िए. Loudly. हाँ.
strong acids.
हाँ, very good. Strongly बोलना. हाँ.
Strong acids
हाँ.
are those acids which undergo complete dissociation.
Hydrogen. हाँ.
For example, HCl. For example, HCl.
Oxalic acid. हाँ. एक मिनट, किधर से पढ़ रहे हैं आप? नहीं, ऊपर टेबल कौन पढ़ेगा? टेबल ऑल्सो इज रिक्वायर्ड. हाँ, चलो फर्स्ट बोलिए. सलाइवा. ओके, हाँ, सलाइवा नहीं, सलाइवा है वो ना. हाँ. बिफोर मील्स क्या है? अरे बिफोर मील्स उसका क्या नेचर है? बेसिक नेचर. ठीक है, तो पीएच कितना हो जाएगा? ग्रेटर देन 7. ओके, सेकेंड आफ्टर मील्स क्या हो जाएगा? एसिडिक. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन लेमन जूस. ऑफ कोर्स इट इज एसिडिक. हाँ, एरेटेड ड्रिंक्स. देन अटेंडेंस सबने साइन किया? एसिडिक. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन कॉफी. एसिडिक. यस. During examination, when you have a lot of coffees, you get stomach ache. What is the reason? The reason is that acidity, and that's why you have antacid. Okay, during examination. Okay, come on. Then tomato. Yes, acidic. Then distilled water. क्या है? Neutral. Almost 7. Then 1 molar NaOH. That is the concentration unit of how much is it? Basic. And then yes, and if you see the pH, for example, that scale which is given, clear? इसमें क्या दिया है? Read out that particular pH के साथ some words are given. What is that? Gastric juice. pH is how much? 1.2. Second, lemon juice थोड़ा सा weak acidic है. Then 7, almost 7, slightly greater than 7. Then milk of magnesia, which is basic in nature. When you have it's like an antacid basically. Then magnesium hydroxide, which is basic in nature. Next, sodium hydroxide solution, of course, strong base. Okay, then और कुछ दिया है? पढ़िए. Next one. Yes. Dissociation. That means strong bases में सिर्फ दो ही है. One is actually what? NaOH. Second is what? KOH. They give large number of what? OH minus ions. ये हम लोगों ने पहले कर दिया, if you remember. ठीक है? और एसिड में 3 ही स्ट्रॉन्ग एसिड है. One is actually what? HCl, second is sulfuric acid, and third is nitric acid. Okay, so ये हम लोग को याद रखना है, ठीक है? इसके अलावा जो भी एसिड्स और बेसिस है, they are weak acids and bases. Next one.
Sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, NaOH gives
Na plus and OH minus. Yes.
That OH or negative ions, weak bases, hydroxyl ions.
Yeah. Dissociate completely, right? That is ammonium hydroxide. Yes. Magnesium hydroxide. NH4 plus and OH minus. Purna padi aage.
Importance of pH in everyday life.
Loudly.
Our body of the pH will be
Yes. Yes. Below 7% may go into a state of unconsciousness. And then below that, the person may go into coma. Last time I told you. Clear? Then
rainwater dissolves with SO2 and NO2. Gases present in the atmosphere. pH is
less than 7. Yes. 5.6 means which is highly acidic. I mean, like compared to water which is neutral. Yes or no? Okay, 1.4 pH come ho gaya. Then
it's called acid rain.
Yes.
When this acid rain falls into the river and it lowers the pH of the water there.
Yes.
Just making aquatic life difficult.
Aquatic life difficult. Diya padi aage.
pH of soil is in the backyard. Plants require a specific pH range for healthy growth. That is between 6.0 to
7.5. Minus nahi hai. To 7.5. Range hai na. Then yes. Yes. Okay.
Called antacid. These antacids utilizes the acid. Magnesium
Hydroxide.
Combined base is often used for this purpose.
Yeah, that is magnesium hydroxide, then eno fruit salt, which is sodium bicarbonate, pudinara, hajmola, ये सब basic nature. Digen, ठीक है? Gelusil, ये सब basic nature, which is containing magnesium hydroxide. Then next one, पढ़िए, last bench, Mayuresh. Loudly. 5.5, yes. Yeah, bones and teeth are made up of calcium compounds, which are the insoluble substances or salts. Okay, then someone नीचे रख इधर. हाँ, yes. Toothpaste is basic in nature. Chewing gum, basic in nature. Medicines, basic in nature. ठीक है? Fennel seeds, basic in nature. तो ये सब चीज आपको, अगर सपोज आपको इंडाइजेशन या कुछ ऐसा हो रहा है या एसिडिटी ज्यादा है, तो you can take some these for example antacids and finally what, neutralize, isn't it? Or you brush your teeth with the toothpaste, you feel nice. Why? A lot of acidity is being neutralized by what? Toothpaste itself. Come on, then which is containing aluminum hydroxide, okay, which is more abrasive kind of substance. The abrasive यानी थोड़ा सा वहाँ पे वो rough kind of substance है, porous है, तो उसमें क्या होता है, when you actually apply, it gives you a friction, a strong friction with those dirt, and therefore dirts are removed with the help of emulsification. Clear? When you add water and then throw it out. Come on, next. Tooth decay. Yes, very important. Then, padhiye, next one. Yes, self-defense. Come on. Then, yeah, when you try to break the honeycomb, okay, or dismantle the honeycomb, what they do? They resist. And how they resist? They start stinging you. Okay, na? Biting you with the help of that formic acid, which is injected inside. And finally, the moment acid goes inside, it creates a burning sensation. Plus, a lot of pain over there and inflammation. So that is nothing but what? A defense mechanism by these entities, which are very small. In fact, micro kind of material in front of human beings and animals. Come on, next. What do you Loudly, my friend, pura loud boliye. Baking soda should be rubbed on the affected part. What will happen? It will calm that particular pain, the burning sensation, plus the inflammation also will get reduced. That is swelling. Okay. Then that means like when honeybee actually what? They're disturbed, they start actually what? A person who is disturbing, okay, when he starts running, they follow them. They are good chasers. Okay, na? Like how police is actually what? Always chase the thieves, and the thieves become tired. Likewise, for example, the person who has dismantled or, for example, has actually what? Broken that particular honey comb, okay, he is not spared, he or she. Why? Because they have actually broken the house of that particular honey, honey bee, basically. And as a result, what will happen? That they will start actually what? Chasing them, and then they start biting. In case if the person doesn't actually what? For example, covers himself up, or maybe, for example, hides in some place, but they enter various places also. So a person has to lie down. When he lies down and remains still for 15 minutes, they hover around that particular person and then move out. Okay. And if he actually what? Makes any kind of movement, they start stinging. Okay. And therefore that creates a lot of pain. Any other thing is there? Okay. Now let us come to the next part, that is salts. What are salts basically? Salts are nothing but what? For example, ionic compounds. They are ionic compounds which on actually what? Dissolving in water. ये देखो simple है. Ionic compounds on dissolving in water produce ions other than H plus ions and ions other than OH minus. That means they don't give H plus ions or OH minus ions normally. When we talk about, for example, salts, salts are of different kinds. That means first is normal salt. What is normal salt? Normal salt means what? Like NaCl, like common salt is a normal salt. Why? On dissociation, on dissolving in water, it produces ions other than what? H plus ions and OH minus ions. Either dekhiye. Okay. Second, we are having acidic salts also. What are acidic salts? Acidic salts are those salts which actually what? Have H plus ions along with them. Like sodium bicarbonate. Okay. सोडियम बाइकार्बोनेट क्या हो जाएगा? जब तुम एक्चुअली इसको पानी में डालोगे तो Na plus plus H plus ion plus CO3. So it gives along with, for example, so positive ion, it gives H plus ion over here. Acidic salt. Basic salt क्या है? लेड, बेसिक लेड नाइट्रेट. जैसे देखो ये वाला. अब कैसे याद रखेंगे? लेड नाइट्रेट का फॉर्मूला क्या है? PbNO3 twice. When you add excess of base, what will happen? This particular nitrate is actually removed, and in place of this, okay, one nitrate, you get OH, and then one nitrate remains. So it's called basic lead nitrate. So when you dissolve in water, what you'll get? Pb plus 2 ions, one hydroxyl ion, and nitrate ion. It's called basic salt. Basic lead nitrate. ठीक है ना? वैसे magnesium, basic magnesium bromide. ये देखो. मैग्नीशियम ब्रोमाइड नॉर्मल सॉल्ट होगा, उसमें एक OH आ जाएगा तो बेसिक है. ओके. देन वी आर हैविंग फॉर एग्जांपल लेट अस से कॉम्प्लेक्स सॉल्ट. ये कॉम्प्लेक्स सॉल्ट है क्या? लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल पोटेशियम फेरोसाइनाइड, वेयर नॉर्मली व्हाट इज ए सिंपल सॉल्ट इज व्हाट? सिंपल सॉल्ट गिव one simple cation, one simple anion, but complex salt means what? It gives you what the cation is, for example, simple, but anion is कॉम्प्लेक्स, ये देखो 4-, ये देखो फेरोसाइनाइड आयन, ये कॉम्प्लेक्स, तो एनायन कॉम्प्लेक्स हो गया, बट कैटायन सिंपल. Likewise, for example, if you take, you will say, sir, what about cation complex? वो भी बता दे. Like cobalt with 4, let us say 6 ammonia molecules, and then chlorine बाहर 3. तो स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट के अंदर जो है वो कॉम्प्लेक्स आयन. ओके, तो इसको जब पानी में डालेंगे तो क्या मिलेगा? CONH3, ओके 6, एंड व्हाट इज द वैलेंसी? वैलेंसी 3 क्लोराइड है, दैट मींस इसका वैलेंसी +3 है, so it is valency is what +3, and here it is what 3Cl-. So is but anion is simple. Here cation was simple, anion now it is simple, but cation is complex. Then there is a double salt. Double salt में क्या होता है? Double salt is that salt which actually what contains 2 salts. Means for example alum, potash alum, देखो potassium sulfate, aluminium sulfate with 24 water molecules. ये आपने पहले भी पढ़ा है, which is used for purification of water. Now this particular alum, जब इसको पानी में डालेंगे तो all ions are simple ions. Potassium ion, sulfate ions, ये दोनों दे रहे हैं, plus aluminium ion. ये देखो. That means here double salt gives all ions simple, but it's combination of what? 2 salts. Okay, double salt mein all ions are simple, but complex salt mein you will find, for example, one ion is simple, other ion is complex. Complex, that's why the word complex. Basic mein ek basic radical hoga, that is hydroxyl ion will be given. Here H plus ion, there neither H plus nor OH. Okay, so ye type ka salts. Now what is important over here to understand salts? The king of all salts is what? Of course, NaCl. Okay, na? So king of salt like NaCl is called rock salt. Really, it rocks. Why? Because first of all, it is obtained from what? The sea, which has been actually dried many years back. So those salts, what they do, they become, for example, they get clustered up and finally what? Become what? For example, get adhered to those rocky areas, or maybe let us say at the seabed, we can say the rock salts are formed, which are brownish in color. Clear? Now this NaCl, from this NaCl, we can prepare various salts or various compounds. In fact, the first compound which we can prepare is what? NaOH. Second compound is nothing but bleaching powder, indirectly or directly. Third, okay. Unna suniye. Are you okay? 2-3 राउंड ऊपर से नीचे मार के आओ, जिससे क्या होगा? आपका नींद निकल जाएगा, right? Bleaching powder. And third is what? For example, sodium bicarbonate. What is the formula for sodium bicarbonate? Which is actually what? For example, baking soda. Then next is what? Sodium carbonate, which is washing soda, which is just like washing powder Nirma, if you remember. Okay? Now, what is important over here? एक मिनट इधर लिख देता हूं, ठीक है? And then next one is what? For example, after sodium carbonate, then we are having plaster of Paris. What is plaster of Paris? CaSO4 half H2. So yes, some compounds we are getting from the salt directly or indirectly, where one of the reactant is used, and finally we prepare the salts. Okay, लिखो, इतना लिखो, and then we'll discuss about the. पहले salts लिखो, उसके बाद different types of. लिखा था आपने? किधर लिखा है? You have written? All of you written? But वो नहीं लिखा ना? ये लिखा था आपने? Okay. हाँ? So should I rub it out? But this you have not written ना? ये लिखा आपने? हाँ? Not for NaCl ना? ये वाला नहीं लिखा. Okay. Now all of you remember. Okay, don't write this. What I'll do? I will make 5 columns, and then accordingly you will also divide this particular both the pages. एक मिनट. ये दोनों पेज आपको यूज करना है, ठीक है? कैसे? यहाँ पे आपको 2 कंपाउंड का लिखना है और यहाँ पे 3 कंपाउंड, ठीक है? तो ये पेज वेकेंट छोड़ दीजिए. ऑल ऑफ यू लीव दिस पेज वेकेंट. क्लियर? हाँ, फर्स्ट यू राइट ऑन दिस somewhere, for example, on the single page, and then after that you divide this 2 pages into these 5 compounds. Let us see that. Okay, so their preparation, their properties and uses will discuss, and that will be the end of this topic. Clear? And then only we'll go for the questions. ये लिख दिया था ना आपने लास्ट टाइम.
Excuse me, sir. It's my first class with you, so can you please brief me what have you done till now?
See, today we have started with acids, bases, and salts. Okay.
Okay.
And acids, bases, and salts, we are starting with the salt. That is NaCl. Which page number it is? Twice of, yes. But when we write, okay, we write the water crystallization with one formula unit. One formula unit क्या है? Calcium sulfate. Page number is what? 28. Page number 28. हाँ, बोलो. Neither H plus ions nor OH minus. Salts give neither H plus ion, normal salts, neither give H plus ion nor OH minus. Other than H plus. Pardon? No. Any ion other than H plus ions or any ion other than OH minus. लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है? Yeah. Over. Okay. Now let us come to these 5 compounds, their preparation. Did you get it? Page number 28, na? Salts, NaCl. More about salts, wahan pe. Now let me tell you one thing. One more important classification we should know. And what is that? Salts are classified on the basis of, now what are salts basically? One more thing. Salts are combination of what? Acids and bases. Because any acid when reacts with the base produces salt and water. ये आपको last time बता दिया. ठीक है? Now we know very well acids are of 2 types. Strong acid, weak acid. Then base also we are having, for example, 2 types. What is that? Strong base and weak base. Yes or no? ठीक है? तो अभी इसका क्या हो जाएगा? For example, हम लोग we can have 4 types of salts on the basis of which acid and which salt base they are combining with. अगर strong acid, strong base salt है, so it is a salt of strong acid, strong base. NaCl is an example. How will you come to know strong acid, strong base का salt है? What do you do? This NaCl के नीचे तुम water लिखो, right? और ये H plus and ये OH minus, this is minus, this is plus. ठीक है? Now what is important over here? This H plus ions you combine with what? Cl, HCl. Now HCl is a strong acid. You know it. What about NaOH? Strong base. So when you do crisscross and you find, for example, that it matches with these compounds, which is HCl, H2SO4 and HNO3, and here it is NaOH and KOH. Yes or no? तो अगर ये strong base और ये strong acid का combination आ गया, that means it is a salt of strong acid, strong base. Now likewise, salt of strong acid, weak base है. Okay? Salt of strong acid, weak base. One activity is given in that. Now strong acid, weak base means what? For example, let us say ammonium chloride. Right? Now ammonium chloride, what do you do? H plus and OH minus. This is plus, this is negative. This is plus, this is negative. H plus ion will combine with what? Cl. What is this? HCl is a strong acid. But ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. इसमें है ही नहीं. Weak base, strong acid, salt, ammonium chloride. ठीक है? Then salt of, अब इस बार acid को weak कर दो, base को strong करो. Okay? Let us take an example. Sodium acetate. Sodium acetate, what do you do? This particular H plus ions and OH minus. Now, यहाँ पे only ion which is actually coming first, negative ion is acetate ion. तो आप इधर याद रखिए, इधर crisscross नहीं करना है, इसके ऊपर ही जो ion है उसके ऊपर attach करना. Acetic acid, weak acid. Sodium hydroxide, strong base. Sodium acid. Right ना? Sodium hydroxide क्या है? Strong base है. Acetic acid इसमें है ही नहीं, तो weak acid. ये देखो जैसे एसिटेट आयंस और H plus ions, एसिटिक एसिड बना, and यहाँ पे अमोनिया, सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड which is a strong base, weak acid. नहीं इसमें because see normally in any salt what happens, पहले cation रहता है दूसरा anion रहता है, ये एक ही salt है जिसमें acetate ion is coming first which is negative ion, then we write positive. That's why we don't do crisscross, means like positive attracts negative, तो acetate ions को आप H plus ion से combine करें. Clear? This is one thing. Then what about weak acid weak base? Weak acid weak base कौन सा होगा? Weak acid weak base, let us say for example acetate, ammonium acetate. Ammonium acetate is a salt. ठीक है? तो जैसे H plus ion डालेंगे and water, this is negative, this is negative positive, so this will combine. What you'll get? Acetic acid, CH3COH, and this is what ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide not there. Acetic acid not there. Weak acid weak base salt. So this way we can easily find out. Clear? Let us say potassium sulfate लिया तुमने, ये salt है, normal salt. Okay? अब इसमें देखो H और OH से combine करो, क्या मिलेगा आपको? This particular H plus will combine with what? Sulfate to give you what? Sulfuric acid. This K will combine with what? Don't see the number of ions. सिर्फ K से आप OH से combine कीजिए, क्या मिलेगा आपको? KOH. Strong base, strong acid salt. हाँ? ओके, पोटेशियम नाइट्रेट कोई भी सॉल्ट ले लो तो आपको मालूम पड़ेगा सॉल्ट ऑफ स्ट्रॉन्ग एसिड स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस है, वीक एसिड स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस है, या वीक एसिड वीक बेस है, यू कैन कम टू. ठीक है, so that is the idea. Now what is important over here is that these are the compounds which you have to remember. Okay, this is weak acid weak base salt. ठीक है, तो ये लिख लो and then we'll discuss. So that means, and then there is one more classification of salt. Salts are soluble and insoluble. Last time I gave you that statement, na? Sweet Pretty Alia said no to Bollywood studio company for films like various, those solubility chart आपको दिया था. ठीक है, बोलिए. ये वाला, ये KOH लिखा सबने, बोलिए. हाँ, why not? Sit, yeah, sleep for some time. Okay, put your head down, relax. Okay, ये. Now let me draw. Okay, एक मिनट में वापस लिख देता हूँ, डोंट वरी. एक मिनट वापस लिख, फिर से लिख देता हूँ ये. ओके, salts of strong acid, strong base, yes or no? NaCl. Salt of strong acid, weak base. Salt of weak acid, strong base. Salt of weak acid, weak base. ठीक है, ये अपना याद है. Okay, now let us come to the NaCl. How we prepare NaCl, पहले ये समझना है. Okay, so now just say this, all of you. ये लिखा सबने? Salts. Now all of you use both the pages. बोलिए. ठीक है, ध्यान से देखिए. Acids, bases and salts. ठीक है. Now here how to prepare NaCl. पहले preparation of NaCl देख लेते. Right? How do you prepare NaCl? Well, preparation of NaCl, how we do? We know very well that NaCl is actually a large scale kind of, for example, salt. Why? Because we have to prepare so many other salts from NaCl. King of salts, we can say. Now, how? Like, for example, you can see, for example, there's a sea, okay, and the sea water actually what? During high tide enters into the shore, okay, comes to the edges, and finally there are some big reservoirs made near the seashore. Yes or no? And these water, they actually what they enter into these, for example, large reservoirs, and during low tide they recede back, and finally the water gets stored over here. Yes or no? And due to this particular evaporation process, due to the sun, the water molecules start moving towards the sun due to evaporation over a period of time. Evaporation is a slow process, but it takes time. So here, what we do, we actually for example, allow the water to evaporate, and then this particular solution of salt or seawater becomes saturated or super saturated. After some time, you'll find some crystals getting developed over here. That is nothing but sodium chloride, maximum. Okay. And then this process, it's purified, and we add potassium iodide, it becomes what? Iodized salt. उसके बाद में process करते हैं, finally what? We make heaps of those salts, okay? And finally what? Make them white, means remove those impurities. First is filtration, okay? Filtration के बाद, उसके बाद, for example, we use crystallization process, and all those things we do. And then we add potassium iodide. Why? To prevent thyroid disorders, because iodine is required for thyroid. Okay, so that means this particular the person will actually what? Will be able to breathe in and breathe out properly. Inhalation and exhalation is actually what? Depends upon the thyroid. For example, that particular hormone, which actually what is, if it is balanced, then you're able to breathe in and breathe out properly. I mean, you can take a good quantity of air inside and good quantity of air outside also, you can throw it. So agar wo thyroid disorder hai, then person has to take some pump and other things, asthma, yes, a problem aa sakta hai. So that's why we actually what? Nowadays, earlier there was no iodized kind of salt. Nowadays they add potassium iodide. Okay. Now anyway, this particular salt which is prepared is actually what? Useful for the preparation of very strong alkali, sodium hydroxide, which is the king of bases, sodium hydroxide. So a king is preparing another king. Okay. So let us see, for example, how to prepare, for example, NaOH. So सबसे पहला compound क्या है? NaOH. What is this? It is called as caustic soda. Okay. Caustic soda यानी, for example, soda रहेगा तो NaOH. अगर caustic potash है तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? KOH. उसका brother. Caustic potash. Potash means potassium. Soda means sodium. याद रखें. ठीक है? Now look here. Caustic soda, how you prepare? What you do? You take a beaker, insert 2 electrodes. Okay, pass, for example, electric current. One is connected to negative terminal of this battery, other is connected to, and then insert this particular NaCl concentrated solution, which is called as what? Brine. Solution of 10% NaCl is called as what? Brine. ठीक है? अब इसमें क्या हो रहा है? ये जो Na plus और Cl minus ions है, plus water is also there little amount. Along with NaCl, water is there. Okay, about say 90% or 80%. Now, what actually happens? There are 2, for example, positive ions and 2 negative ions. Yes or no? Now, the ions which are actually what? If there are 2 same kind of charges are present on the ions, the ion which is more stable will not get discharged at the electrode. Means, in front of sodium ion, H plus ion is more reactive. It will go towards the cathode and finally get discharged, and you'll find some gas bubbles coming out. What is that? Hydrogen gas. In front of this Cl minus, OH minus, Cl minus is active, and therefore it will go there. Okay, will undergo what? For example, loss of electron, and you will find chlorine gas. तो यहाँ पे क्लोरीन आपको मिल रहा है. तो यानी क्लोरीन निकल गया, हाइड्रोजन निकल गया, बचा क्या? NaOH. That means along with hydrogen, you get chlorine also. You were actually asked for only one compound. Buy one, get 2 free. This is called chloralkali process. Why chloralkali? Because chlorine or alkali dono prepare ho rahe. Okay. Now here NaOH, this solution contains NaOH. Isko let us say, for example, a porcelain dish में डाल दो, and then you heat it, and we make the solution saturated. And after that, we observe the crystallization process. And after some time, you find you get the crystals of NaOH, pellets of NaOH, you can say. Okay. Now this NaOH which you get is the compound prepared from this particular brine solution. Okay. So ये NaOH actually what? For example, जब solution saturate होता है, तो Na plus and OH minus क्या हो जाता है? They combine and they form clusters or solid बनते हैं. तो NaOH मिल गया. Okay. ये method. Second is, for example, first let us understand. Second is bleaching powder. Bleaching powder, you know very well, is used for bleaching purposes, for killing germs, used in swimming pools, water purification. Clear? ये सब अपना इसमें. Huh? Yes, definitely. That's why we are using in swimming pool, right? Now, what is CA and bleaching powder? अपने building में भी जब जहाँ पे like rainy season they, for example, put that bleaching powder so that people, because it becomes very much slippery due to the formation of algae, right? Okay, or moss we say. Now, what is important? Bleaching powder, how you prepare? You take lime water, react with what? Chlorine. Okay. Now, what actually happens? This particular H and OH combine to give you what? Water. And this bond breaks. This chlorine comes over here and this chlorine comes over here. What you'll get? That means Ca, OCl, and then Cl. That means calcium oxidichloride. Right? Calcium oxidichloride is simply bleaching powder. Okay? This is a white substance which is actually what formed by the reaction of what? Lime water and chlorine. Again, now what is important over here? This is second compound. Third compound is what? Third compound is sodium bicarbonate, which is called as what? Baking soda. What is baking soda? How do you prepare this baking soda? आपको क्या करना है? Take NaCl again. Okay. Put in water, make a solution of this NaCl. Plus, you pass carbon dioxide plus ammonia also. Huh? Okay. Now, so no, Na, H, CO2 और ये H मिलके क्या बनेगा? देखो Na, इसका एक Na ले लो, इसका एक H ले लो, सुनो, and then CO2 और इसका O. तो अभी देखो इसमें से एक H निकल गया, तो एक H बचा, इसमें से पूरा निकल गया, CO2 और इधर ऑक्सीजन भी चला गया, खाली H बचा इसमें, और इधर NH3 और ये H और एक Cl इधर बचा है, तो NH4Cl. Look at this chemical reaction. Now this ammonia, sodium bicarbonate is insoluble. आपको precipitate मिलना शुरू हो जाएगा, और ammonium chloride is soluble. Immediately आप filter कीजिए. Aqueous solution. Okay. NH white precipitate of sodium bicarbonate you will get. So we are preparing this baking soda. Now you see baking soda when you mix with what? For example, okay, with tartaric acid. Now tartaric acid is nothing but what? An acid which actually it is sour in taste, and sodium bicarbonate is a base which is bitter to taste. Now to actually neutralize that bitterness in cake, like when you make cakes or biscuits, you require sweetness or at least not bitterness. Okay, then you add this tartaric acid, it will neutralize that, and you will get what? Sodium salt of tartaric acid. Okay, sodium salt of tartaric acid, and plus you will of course water is also there, plus you will get some gas coming out, because any carbonate, whenever it reacts with any acid, it will give you a gas called carbon dioxide. Now as the gas comes out, it makes that cake spongy, that idli ka paste, idli is spongy. Like for example, when we try to make, for example, you want to do faster cooking, clear, you add this sodium bicarbonate. So that, yes, ferment as well as to make the things fluffy, and at the same time, let us say, for example, the cooking also becomes faster, and as a result, we find this particular tartaric acid is used, and this particular mixture of sodium bicarbonate with tartaric acid is called as what? Baking powder. ये पूरा baking powder, okay, आपको market में directly मिलता है आजकल, पहले हम लोग को mix करना पड़ता है. Yes, so that gas which is released is actually what? Making that spaces and going out. That's why you find it is becoming spongy. Otherwise, cake becomes hard, na? Idli becomes hard. So soda अगर कम रहेगा, वड़ा एकदम actually what? For example, वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा hard रहेगा, उसका paste hard रहेगा, and as a result, okay, we have to add this particular sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so this is what is that. This is the third compound. Please write down this, and then we'll proceed for the fourth and fifth compound, and then we'll go for the properties. Yes. because valency of calcium is 2 na. And secondly, water always comes out means एक को H देना पड़ेगा, एक को OH देना पड़ेगा. कहाँ पे? हाँ, हाइड्रोनियम इधर है ही नहीं ना. ये H will combine with OH to give you water. Water is more stable than hydronium ion. हाँ, नहीं एक का यानी देखो एक का OH निकलेगा, एक का H निकलेगा. बिकॉज यहाँ पे मेटल अपना एक बिकॉज यहाँ पे इसका बॉन्डिंग यहाँ पे वीक है, यहाँ पे इसका बॉन्ड वीक कर देता है एंड यू गेट कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड. एंड एक्चुअली व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, ये क्या है, कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड एंड वाटर. सुनो, ऐसा कंपाउंड है, तो वाटर अपना निकल जाता है, और जब वाटर निकल जाए तो कैल्शियम के साथ एक ऑक्सीजन है, सो 2 क्लोरीन उसके साथ अटैच हो जाते हैं, बस. वाटर इज जस्ट कमिंग आउट. कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड इज ये ना ड्राइंग एजेंट है ना, तो ड्राइंग एजेंट में क्या होता है, लिखने के टाइम वी राइट दिस वे. सो एनी ऑक्साइड विद वाटर इज कॉल्ड हाइड्रो ऑक्साइड, so we write in this just to show the adjustment. Okay, ये वाला, हाँ, so that you get an idea. Pragna, are you writing?
Yes.
Please write down this given on the board. Can you see?
Yes, sir. But the last thing which you have
Last
written
part
now,
you are not.
yeah, no, it's fine.
दिख रहा है आपको?
Yes.
हाँ. All right, ठीक है ना? Sodium salt of tartaric acid. एक कैथोड, एक कैथोड और एक एनोड. ब्रैकेट है क्या? baking soda, sodium salt of tartaric acid. This is tartaric acid. किधर कैथोड VRINE ठीक है ना हो गया ये now let's come to for example last two compounds before we go for a ठीक है नहीं तो घर में जाके सो जाओ आराम से राइट if you want to sleep at home relax ठीक है ना हो गया सबका ठीक है don't you know force your system to sit नहीं तो क्या होगा तबीयत खराब हो जाएगा तुम्हारा आज जाके घर में आराम करो right I think so you're not well isn't it you're not feeling well huh just sleeping you want to sleep acha feeling sleepy okay okay sabka first one is over this one is over now the fourth compound is sodium carbonate which is washing soda what is washing soda basically okay washing soda the formula is Na2CO3 with 10 water molecules okay how you prepare this Na2CO3 अगर तुमको Na2CO3 prepare करना है directly NaCO3 से prepare कर सकते कैसे NaCO3 जब तुम actually heat करोगे you will find for example when you on heating it decomposes to form okay Na2CO3 plus carbon dioxide plus water this Na2CO3 once you actually what take this compound here this carbon dioxide goes out you make the solution soup वही balancing कर रहा हूँ okay here Na2CO3 will actually what 10 Na2CO3 decahydrate okay now this particular decahydrate which is nothing but what washing powder Nirma famous ad of that Nirma okay girl in the frock white color frock okay dances and then finally finds and immediately flashes Nirma powder clear that's famous ad and I think so that particular girl died I don't know at the young age either Okay, dot because the water molecules are loosely attached with Na2CO3. Here they're just hydrated. This is called water of crystallization. So that particular ad is actually famous. Everybody knows about this particular sodium carbonate. Usme pura soda hai. Na2CO3 10H. Okay, but the bright clothes were becoming brighter and white clothes were becoming whiter. So there was only one soap which was actually what giving a strong let us say resistance to Hindustan Unilever का for example सर्फ का एक बड़ा कॉम्पिटिटर था निर्मा, ठीक है, अभी भी है, ठीक है, बट थोड़ा सा कम हो गया बिकॉज सो मेनी एरियल आ गया, फिर अच्छा टाइड आ गया, चौंक गए, कौन सा था वो चौंक गए, आदमी खड़ा है और हाँ घड़ी वाला ना था, टाइड, हाँ टाइड वाला, वो टाइड, हाँ टाइड वाला, फिर अपना वैनिश, फिर अभी आजकल आ गया पोर अप, राइट ना, दिया कौन सा था आपको याद आ रहा है तो, हाँ कौन सा, सर्फ एक्सेल, हाँ दाग अच्छे, mummies they allowed for example the smaller children to play in that mud puddle, isn't it, and then they come with the dirty clothes and सब वो ऐड आता है दाग अच्छे है. Okay, so what is important over here, so these manufacturers of for example detergents and soaps, what they do, they actually they claim that any dirty cloth also can be taken care of by these detergents and soaps. And Nirma was the number one in this particular, for example, using a lot of soda. And therefore, the people who used to wash the clothes, that time washing machine was not there. People literally used to wash the clothes with hand. I mean, and therefore the hand used to become very much rough. So Nirma thoda sa niche ho gaya because usme pura sodium carbonate is डाल. Okay, remember this. And therefore, what happened? This Nirma became little bit less, but still it is popular as of today also in the village side also. People, they say that it is actually still number one in the village side, because older people, they still have this belief, because once they take that brand एक बार माइंड में आ गया. अभी जैसे अभी देखो कोलगेट है, गोदरेज है, ये सब ब्रांड क्या है, परमानेंट है. जैसे अगर ताला लेना है तो आपको गोदरेज का ताला लेना, अगर कबोर्ड लेना है तो आपको गोदरेज का ही कबोर्ड लेना. अभी आजकल चेंजेस हो गया, लाइक पीपल दे गो फॉर वार्डरोब्स एंड अदर थिंग, बट लाइक अर्लियर whenever they used to bring the cupboard, okay, उस दिन वो मीठा हलवा बनाते थे. क्यों? क्योंकि आज हम लोग के घर में एक मेटल का फॉर एग्जांपल ये आ गया गोदरेज वाज कंसीडर्ड विद नंबर 1 क्लियर, व्हाट इज से सेफ. आज तक सेफ में सबसे नंबर 1 ही है, ठीक है ना. हाँ लॉक्स, आजकल लॉक्स में नवताल का जो आपका मेन डोर पे सब तो गोदरेज ही लगा है. कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि हाईफाई बिल्डिंग आल्सो नॉट शिफ्टेड टू एनी अदर locks, okay, only Godrej. So that means what is important, sodium carbonate 10H2O is nothing but what, washing soda. Now this washing soda, okay, when actually what exposed to atmosphere, it loses water of crystallization. ये lose कर देता है 9 water molecules, ठीक है, और एक water molecule ही बचता है. This is called efflorescent property of this salt. Now this losing property of for example water of crystallization by salt is called efflorescence, okay, on exposure. Likewise, if you heat it further, this water also comes out. That's, and therefore a grocer's shop में क्या, for example, it is being sold in the market as what, soda ash. अगर पूरा water molecules निकल गया, it becomes what, anhydrous sodium carbonate, then it is called as what, soda ash. Okay, तो सोडा एश के नाम से अपना तुम ग्रोसरी शॉप में जाओगे, ग्रोसरी शॉप में, तो आपको मालूम पड़ेगा कि वहां पे आपको सोडा एश यानी packed container, and again it has got a tendency to absorb that moisture also, depending upon what is how much moisture it can actually take. So again it can revert back into 10H2 also, okay, but it is stored in airtight container. So when it's airtight container or packed container, okay, it is not able to absorb, okay, but the moment you open it becomes slightly wet, okay, because of absorption of water. Clear? Now sodium carbonate is basically as a cleansing agent, ठीक है, बेसिकली ये क्लेंसिंग एजेंट ही है. एंड देन इतना ही उसके पार्ट में फॉर एग्जांपल तुम्हारे इंफॉर्मेशन दिया है बुक में ना, लास्ट पार्ट इज नथिंग बट व्हाट, फॉर एग्जांपल प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस? प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस इज नथिंग बट व्हाट, CSO4 half H2. Actually it's not half H2, okay, it is nothing but what, why it is called plaster of Paris? Because first time it was actually what, used in Paris for binding the let us say monuments in that particular, let us say for example, France country, Paris में discover हुआ है, and therefore this particular thing is a binding kind of material. That's what plastering बोलते हैं. Okay, they used to actually what bind the monuments in Paris or maybe in the France. Okay, that country, and finally what a lot of monuments were there which were actually having some cracks. So to bind them, this plaster of Paris was used. But how to prepare this plaster of Paris? They found a white color powder, gypsum. What's some gypsum? Yes, this particular plaster of Paris is prepared from gypsum. Gypsum is nothing but what? CaSO4 2H dihydrate बोलते हैं. ठीक है, ये decahydrate है और वहाँ di. Deca means dec means 10 और di means 2, tri means 3. ऐसा करके. Okay. Here, when you actually heat it to 373 Kelvin, controlled heating, immediately this calcium sulfate loses, okay, 1.5 water molecules and become what? Calcium sulfate half H2. Okay. And this particular half H2 is called as what? Plaster of Paris. But actually it does not exist in this manner. Okay. It is existing in this manner. Now look here. Now here, if I multiply this by 2, what I'll get? CaSO4. ठीक है? यानी आपको क्या करना है? इसको half को अगर suppose for example here अगर 2 इसको multiply कर रहे हैं तो ये 1 हो जाएगा. So here you have to write what? That means 2 calcium sulfate. Okay. 2 molecules of calcium sulfate with 1 water molecule. So here we can say, for example, it's like saying calcium sulfate dono side likh do, and they are binded by what? Water. Which one? We can use it as gypsum. Okay. Again, we can convert back into what? But एक time आता है कि जब half water molecules भी निकल जाते हैं, okay, उसका binding property खत्म हो जाता है. Again, we cannot convert into gypsum back. Clear? Like for example, you're using in the fractured area. After that, again, you cannot reuse it because it has actually what lost water molecules completely, and finally, it's not able to have this kind of format again. And as a result, एक बार आपने वो plaster, for example, apply कर दिया, it will become a hard solid. Then finally, again, that plaster cannot be just, for example, put in water, and again, it will not have a binding property because it will not absorb that calculated amount of water. Remember? Okay, so here, what is important? Just like, for example, 2 people are going and ordering for 1 chapati in the restaurant, but 1 chapati या 2 लोगों को खाना है, तो क्या करेंगे? Half करेंगे. Means what? ये half खाएगा और ये half खाएंगे. Yes or no? तो ऐसा सोचो. चपाती तो एक ही ऑर्डर कर सकते. लाइक होटल में जाओगे तो तुम ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते हाफ चपाती दे दो. Like as we have mentioned, we order 1, but 2 people are there, so they will divide that particular, chapati into 2 halves. Like it was 1 water molecule into what? Half water molecule. Half mole actually. Okay, mole means n number of water molecules. But while writing it as half. Now, how you actually use as a binding kind of agent? Now, this plaster of Paris is stored in airtight container. Why? Because if it absorbs, for example, 1.5 water molecules, it becomes a hard mass and you cannot reuse it. Okay. Now, what actually happens when this particular calcium sulfate half H2 is used? Suppose a person is having fracture. ये fracture, इसमें hand में fracture, ये हाथ यहाँ पे fracture हुआ, यहाँ पे bone है ना, इधर अपना break हो गया. अब ये bone को तो bind करना है, ठीक है ना? तो अपने hand को still रखना पड़ेगा. Okay, तो यहाँ पे hand को still करने के लिए क्या? Doctors apply, for example, take that particular plaster of Paris, mix calculated quantity of water, clear, and then bind that. Applies that particular bandage. After applying bandage, what happens? Within few, let us say, for example, hours or maybe minutes, okay, this particular thing becomes hard solid, hard mass, right? Because what is happening? This half H2O combines with 1.5 water molecules and becomes what? CaSO4 2H2. It's a gypsum में convert. Okay, and after that, okay, it becomes hard, and therefore, what anybody, for example, punches that particular hand also, nothing will happen. Why? Not giving any kind of jerk. But of course, we have to be careful. And then what do they do? After this, okay, they write get well soon. यहाँ पे marker से लिख देते हैं. फिर अपना phone number. Why? Because person is not able to move his hand, not able to move his neck. Okay, so यहाँ पे लिख देते. And then after some time, this particular fractured plaster is actually what, or this particular for example, plaster is cut off with the cutter. आजकल cutter use करते हैं, पहले scissors use कर सकते, but scissors में भी बहुत, for example, time लगता है because it becomes hard mass, and as a result, this particular plaster of Paris is used for making what, for example, normally is used for plastering purpose. That's why the word plaster of Paris. Okay, so that is the idea of all these spy compound. Now read out first. Sarvesh, पढ़िए. हाँ. इधर plus 1.5 H2. अगेन जिप्सम में आ जाए. हाँ, बेकिंग पाउडर वहां से नहीं, फर्स्ट NaCl, NaOH, caustic सोडा. NaCl से caustic सोडा प्रिपरेशन किया है. हाँ.
Chemicals for common salt. Common salt is formed by the combination of hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide solution, and it's called sodium chloride.
Yes.
This is a salt that is used in food. It is neutral salt. Sea water contains many salts dissolved in it.
Yeah.
Sodium chloride is separated from salt. Deposits of solid salt are also found in several parts of the world. These large crystals are often found due to chemical use. This is called rock salt.
Rock salt, yes.
Beds of rock salt is formed when seeds of bygone it is dried up. Rock salt is mined like gold. Common salt is the raw material for chemicals. The common salt is obtained with an imported raw material for various materials of daily use, such as sodium hydroxide, baking soda, washing soda, baking powder, and many more.
Yes.
Sodium hydroxide. When electricity is passed to an aqueous solution of sodium chloride called brine, it decomposes to form sodium hydroxide. The process is called the
chlor-alkali process. Chlorine and alkali both are formed. पढ़िए, आगे पढ़िए. हो गया? Sentence is completed.
Product form fluor for chlorine and alkali for sodium hydroxide.
Yes. Come on, read out.
2 NaCl aqueous plus 2 H2O liquid gives 2 NaOH aqueous plus Cl2 gas plus H2 gas.
Yes.
Chlorine gas is given.
दिख रहा है पूर्ण आपको? हाँ. Plus H2 plus Cl2. Yes.
Chlorine gas is given off at the anode and hydrogen gas at the
Cathode. Next one. हो गया? Sentence stop कर रहे हैं. Next person will read. हाँ.
Sodium hydroxide solution is formed as a reaction.
All useful. Remember, okay. H2 is useful. Cl2 is useful. Here, NaOH is useful. Plus combination. H2 और Cl2 को मिला देंगे क्या मिलेगा? HCl. NaOH और क्लोरीन को मिला देंगे क्या मिलेगा? NaOCl, which is a bleaching agent. Okay? हाँ, पढ़िए. इधर जिप्सम 2H2 उसके साथ अटैच रहता है. हाँ, जिप्सम. दिस इज जिप्स. नहीं, ये जिप्सम है. चिल्ड्रन, ये जिप्सम है. जिप्सम से आप प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस प्रिपेयर कर. जिप्सम का फॉर्मूला CaSO4 2H2 है. प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस का फॉर्मूला CaSO4 हाफ H2. चलो, हाँ पढ़ो. ब्लीचिंग पाउडर सुनिए. हाँ,
is the action of chlorine on
dry slaked lime. Yes. Yes.
It is also called as chlorine of fluoride of lime.
Now, बोलिए.
Used for treating cotton linen in textile industry for its paper sciences as an oxidizing agent, as disinfecting for disinfecting cotton. Baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, common name baking soda, formula NaH.
Yes.
It is produced using sodium chloride as one of the raw materials.
Good.
It is used as H2O plus NH3 NH4 plus NaH.
Yes.
Crystals are white in color, pairing is soluble in water
Sparingly means insoluble. ठीक है? बस alkaline. Next one. पढ़िए. हाँ, non-corrosive base. यानी non-reactive. Corrosive का मतलब है reactive. Non-corrosive means non-reactive. Come or less reactive. So then. Yes. हाँ. पकोड़ास. Yes. ये अभी बारिश का सीजन आएगा तब आपको पकोड़ास मिलेगा, वड़ा मिलेगा. तो वो सब क्या था? ठीक है? इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ बेकिंग सोडा. चलिए नेक्स्ट वन पढ़िए. हाँ, तुमने यूजेस पढ़ लिया पूरा? पढ़ो, तुम पूरा कंप्लीट करो लाउडली. Yes, fire extinguisher also we are having sodium bicarbonate. Why? It gives you carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a non-supporter of combustion. तो जब आप उसको फ्लैश करते हैं या फॉर एग्जांपल वो सोडियम बाइकार्बोनेट निकलता है, तो wherever the fire breaks out, what happens? It covers that particular layer and therefore does not allow the oxygen to come on that material which is already has got fire. Why? It forms carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide displaces oxygen and therefore further fire does not actually what? Enhances. Okay, so that is the idea of fire extinguisher. Next one. Tartaric acid, yes, plus yes, sodium hydrogen carbonate. हाँ. हाँ. Yes, बोलिए. दो यानी जो अपना क्या बोलते हैं बैटर ना. यस, बोलिए. सॉफ्ट स्पॉन्जी. यस, नेक्स्ट वन पढ़िए. हाँ. यस. Yes. बोलिए. हाँ. Yes. 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 Efflorescence. And the salt is called efflorescent. Now, one more important thing. Are all the salts crystals dry? So there are two salts, there are two types of salts on the basis of, for example, containing water or not containing water. Now, the salts which are containing water are called as what? Hydrous salts. ये देखो hydrous salts में कौन सा है? CuSO4 5H2. MgSO4, Epsom salt, 7H2. Calcium sulfate, gypsum, 2H2. Yes or no? Now, in लोग के पास water molecules है, that's why they're called a hydrous. But the king of all salts is what? NaCl. NaCl is anhydrous. NaCl देखो, ACl देखो. इन लोग के पास पानी नहीं है, water absorb नहीं करता. Pure, okay? So these are called anhydrous salts. Now, are all the crystals of the salt dry? No, answer is no. Why? Suppose you take copper sulfate in a test tube, थोड़ा tilt करके रखो और इसको heat करो. Now you'll find water, this copper sulfate loses all water molecules and you find some trickles of water droplets coming down. What is this? This is nothing but what? 5H2O coming down. I mean, from one unit formula. So the number of water molecules, fixed number of water molecules, which is attached to what? One formula unit of salt is called water of crystallization. वैसे gypsum का अगर देखा आपने, तो gypsum क्या करते हैं? Gypsum is actually what? 2H2O. Now, how will you come to know that this particular, before that, copper sulfate क्या हो जाएगा? जैसे white अपना water molecules it loses, it becomes what? Blue to white. Now again, for example, agar suppose you actually what? Again expose it to the atmosphere, this copper sulfate which was white absorbs 5 water molecules exactly and become what? Blue again. Okay. This property of, losing water and gaining water back, okay, is making it hydrous and anhydrous. So यहाँ पे anhydrous था, hydrous हो गया. फिर से heat करोगे, okay, तो यहाँ पे heat करोगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? It loses water of crystallization. जब cool करोगे तो, for example, or expose करोगे, again it will take back their water molecules. So this phenomenon is actually what telling us that all the salts which are actually what looking solid, they are not dry. Okay, after the break we'll go for the reading part and a question and answer का यहाँ पे एक-एक student आएंगे reaction को पूरा complete करने के, ठीक है?